All right, it's live now. I did a lot to make that happen. I had to switch up streams. They had me on a sideways view, and that was not acceptable. I'm a little pickier than that. I gotta have everything perfect, right? Or as perfect as possible for this traveling show, if you call it that. Yeah, boy. So, Joe Gardner, what's up? Not a whole lot, brother. Please, I really appreciate you showing up, man. You're an authority on this subject too, you know. Maybe you should do some videos for real. But look, I'll tell you, it's kind of crazy. Oh, it's always kind of crazy, man. I probably said it a lot. So this is just gonna be a quick little live something, and you know, share my last video. It's way more informative than this one's going to be, but this is kind of a little more info on the situation and what they're doing now. Okay, so can you hear me? Is my audio good? Give me a thumbs up if I got good audio, because there's no telling. Because I answered you and you asked me again there. Let me know my audio's good. Yes? Okay. Sakota, thank you. So here's what we got going on. Alright. This spill thing, I'm gonna set my audio up real quick and change it over to Bluetooth. Okay, I hear you. Okay, got you, Joe. So audio's working for everybody. All right, so here's the thing. They still have not contained that fire. They've got winds and storms that it looks like North Texas, which is what they say, but I'm not sure exactly what part, you know. Somewhere got hail. Now, there was some big hail, but I'm expecting, since all that stuff went up into the sky, that it's probably in the band of storms. That band of storms seemed to have moved to the north and maybe to the east. It didn't go up to Houston. It's east of Houston to the north. There's a whole band of storms coming up, and I'm going to show this report right quick. But I'm going to tell you about a few things in here I want you to pick up on. One, there's another weatherman. I don't know. He says, hey, I hope you like me. I'm here all week. I don't know if the other one got sick from this stuff, or who knows if they were affected. But I know that 2 reporters got sick from being there, and it immediately took them down. And then, like I said, it's going to cause them, I think it's going to shave years off their life, and I think it's going to take them out, and you'll get to watch them decline on TV while they're doing reporting little by little by little. That's what I think. I know what these chemicals do. So they still haven't admitted to anything else in the tanks. Nobody's pressing them on it, it seems like, and they haven't reported on it anything new about the exact chemicals, and they haven't said anything about you know, because they were sued and found in court to have had and leaked you know, cyanide. So okay, so but they did say they expect higher levels of water. And there's a guy running around in a van, by the way, testing this, and he's got a beard and mustache. He needs to shave that off, and he needs to be able to use a gas respirator, but also have like a full chem suit, really. But he's testing it in a mobile van and stuff, and that kind of stuff. He's the one that's in charge of trying to have people out there in the water testing it, but they need to protect themselves way better than what they are. And they opened up schools, and they put children back in these schools, and what they did, and what they makes them feel better, is they washed down all the playground equipment. This was their answer, and changed the air filter in the schools. For these chemicals, the residue, look, I don't even want to go into this. Like I said, I think that they should be gone for a couple of weeks minimum. Go in there full hazmat crew, and some of the houses need to be destroyed, because it stays on your clothes and shoes and everything. You're supposed to basically take everything off of someone's shoes, everything, if they are having contact with cyanide once you get them away from it. So, and they're not supposed to breathe on you. You're supposed to have them wear a paper mask like that woman in the hospital was, which they knew something to have her do that. And then also you're supposed to use a one-way check valve breather when you're giving mouth to mouth, or it'll kill you too. So basically the 2 reporters are going to be affected by that other stuff, and who knows, maybe cyanide, likely. I mean, for me to say that, hey, they were already caught with the chemical, they won't say what's in the mystery tanks, that leads me to believe it's something really bad. It could be even worse than that. And like I said before, and look at my last video, but you know, here's the schematic I drew of the place. This being where it started. That's the benzene that they're leaking out. the naphtha, and there's all these mystery tanks. There's 8 of them. Actually, if you call it 7 are really important because one was empty and being drained, but it still has residue, and that residue can burn. So the residue burn was probably more of a cleaner burn than the rest of it, but it's all a dirty burn. And it's all up in the sky, and it's coming out of this tank every night while you sleep. And they turned off the monitors. So, you know, if anybody wants to think that I'm overly critical, yes, I am. They turned off the monitors at 5:08 that morning. So, but here's this report, and it's going to show what's going on. There's a couple things I want you to look for. Hold on, let me shut this off. Sorry, I feel like I'm screaming over this, but I need some air conditioner. It's a bit warm. So here's what we got going on. They talk about the weather. They show that they're still cleaning it up. Then they say that the channel's closed. They show these tankers at a holding pattern on the outside, but they show 1 or 2 that I believe are in there. So maybe they're going with plan D, like I said they should. So we will see on that. And then there was something else I was going to bring up about this news report, but I forget, so I'll just hit play, and let me set the audio up here, and I'll bring it up whenever I get to it. How about that? That would be wiser. I don't like wasting anybody's time. So let's see, left. So bring this to center and bring it to the front on the audio, and then I'll hit play because I'm on Bluetooth with it. So just make it all front. And I've just about figured this thing out on how to set all this stuff up. Wait, that's not set up on Bluetooth. Oh, I will have to set this up. That's where he said he was there all week. I got to set up the Bluetooth for sure on this. This will take like 2 seconds. I'm getting better at this here. How about that? Bluetooth. Hit that. Hit that. Hold it. Repairing. Tap that button. Waiting. We're going to connect this up. That's what I got to do. It says connected. No phone. Let's see what happens. Connected. It's connecting. Connected. Bam. Then I got to hold it down for music. That's how you do that, by the way. Just hold it down until it says music. Now we're set up on audio. Okay, and all the settings are right. So what I was saying is this guy's saying he's going to be there a week. I don't know if the other one got messed up from this stuff or what. There's 2 or 3 different news places that you got to put it all together to get a good, accurate idea of actually what all was going on with this. And so they, you know, I'm toggling between different ones, but the ones that had reporters on the scene, there was 2 different ones, and you know, they're affected by this stuff. And they're just putting kids back into schools, I guess. You know, listen, he says he's here all week.
Hey, let's take a look outside this morning.
Wait.
70
Come on, go back to
down
that.
there at it looks like I'm with you all week, by the way.
Looks like I'm with you all week.
Like me.
Yeah.
Hey, let's take a look outside this morning. 70 degrees down there at Hobby Airport, 69 degrees at Bush. I'll tell you what, it's just a balmy start to the day. One thing I'm watching very carefully is going to be this chance of thunderstorms as we head into the afternoon hours. You say, well, what thunderstorms? I don't see anything on radar. You are correct.
You don't see none on radar,
and then we have a nasty squall.
Okay, so we're going to talk about this for a second. All right. So all of that stuff that went up in the atmosphere went somewhere. I don't know, did it coalesce to this, or is it still in this area? I know a lot of the black dust fell down, and somewhere in North Texas, somewhere they said heavy rain. They showed the golf ball size, even rain, hail. You know, I don't know if it got as big as baseball size, but this stuff here, I'd be circumspect. You can say that's circumspect right there about what's in it. But I'm not trying to go into some kind of conspiracy theory. I'm saying for real, the stuff went up into the atmosphere. What goes up must come down. So there's Dallas. This over here is Vicksburg, Mississippi, Monroe, all this stuff. We'll see what happens with that. That's not even, I'm not even watching that so much as I am watching that tank down there, that they're still working on this one, and the fact that they've got those ships down there in the bay. I think that maybe they decided, hey, that is a good idea to take that tanker, and they probably, someone else thought of it. They probably didn't hear anything from me, but I'm saying, you know, it's good that they came to the same conclusion.
Now getting out
if they're doing
just
that,
to the north of Lufkin, and this may actually clip some of
just
our
not happening
northeast
fast
counties,
enough.
including Polk, Liberty, and San Jacinto counties. So heads up there. Rain chances 20% throughout
20%
the
there.
locally. We'll have more in your forecast and a cool down next weekend.
That's why I want to show this.
Good morning.
Good morning, Blake. Okay,
but it's still pushing down. It can still push the chemicals down even without rain.
To work shortly. It's been a fairly calm morning for you. Now, I do want to take you straight to the Hardy Toll Road because there was a big rig that was stalled for the last 30 minutes, really snarling up traffic trying to get to the north.
Plug it up and see if it works.
There we go. Reopen as both connectors are to the north loop going east and westbound, and all of that problem we saw there with the backup, it's gone away. Let's take you to the North Freeway, northbound lanes.
So here's the thing.
Traffic is nice.
It's so important to keep things going status quo that everybody's just like, I just want to go back to work. I just want to go back to work. I just want to forget about this stuff. But they don't realize that this chemical is still out there in the residue. You know, you don't just get rid of tons and tons. You know, if each tank has 80,000 barrels multiplied times 55 gallon drums, we already figured that's 4.4 million gallons. You know, whatever. So look, check it out. We're gonna keep going here, and I'll bring into something in a second here. I want you to watch.
Thank you, Seth.
Adam Bennett continues our rush block now. He is in Deer Park this morning where workers are cleaning up after that chemical fire at ITC.
Adam, students in that area are heading back to school this morning.
And they let them go back to school. Crazy, right?
That's right, Lisa. This will be the first time in days the students here at Deer Park ISD and several other districts.
Is that a good idea, people? Oh, thanks for the like. I appreciate that.
Tuesday was the last time we saw students here in Deer Park go to class, but we also are seeing students from LaPorte, Pasadena,
Galena Park,
Sheldon ISD,
and little kids that high off the ground. That's from before.
Yes, prep campuses. They're all reopening
we
today.
Hope it's still from before. No, that's from before.
That's
how close it was to that school.
Throughout the weekend. Over at ITC, though, efforts are ongoing. Crews are still trying to contain chemicals that spilled into the nearby waterways. They're pumping out chemicals.
Okay. They're still trying to control chemicals that pour down to the waterways, and they're still pouring water on this. Now, here's what I wanted to tell you about. This chemical plant, when they call neighbors, they do have neighbors right next to them with other tanks, okay? So those other people with other tanks are worried about a pipe that goes next to the place that might get hot and catch on fire. So they're over here pumping water. They're showing you on this place with the big hose. Over here they got a littler hose trying to cool off a pipe so it don't catch on fire. We run the risk of having a whole nother meltdown over here just because of the heat from what's still hot, all the chemicals under the blanket and everything else that's happened, and all the fire and stuff over here, because they have to keep that chemical below 98 degrees. Like, you would think that water boils at, like, you know, I don't know, the boiling temperature water. Look it up. I don't have to know everything, right? I don't want to give you an exact number and then be wrong, but the point is that 98 degrees makes a lot of chemicals catch on fire. That is their flash point, okay? So flash points are important to know about each chemical, and even going through a pipe, whatever oxygen's in there or otherwise, it'll explode. So they're trying to, over here they're putting water on a pipe while they're putting water on this stuff. And when they put this foam and water on this stuff, anything that agitates that stuff makes it leak. They've got to refoam this whole thing. I'm hoping they're going to use one of them tankers down there that they've got in there. I can show that in a minute. There actually are tankers, and they're going to show it. They're going to say the bay's closed, but then they're also, in a different helicopter video that I saw, show that there's actually tankers down there. It even zoomed in and showed their names. I'm not going into their names. I ain't trying to out their names. I'm just saying that they are down there, and two of them, I believe, are in, I think they're running into that bay. If they hook up to the jetties and they just pump this stuff off into there and just be done with it, it'll hold 330,000 gallons in one of them tankers, and one tanker would do it, and just call it a day. Pave that stuff over, be done with it, and then try to go all the way around the community and clean up everything you can. But just changing air filters in a school, they say that's an overabundance of caution. The ducts in the schools need to be cleaned, and even if they agitate that, you're still running risk. They should shut that thing down and have hazmat crew in there clean the whole place up. They should also run, some of these companies, they have bad reputations for ripping up your ducts. If you put that thing up in there and it rips up your ducts, it could break the ducts. So I would say get a reputable one, but they should get a reputable one that will be careful and get all the dust even out of the ducts and clean those, and clean them with some type of a chemical or something that will pick that up, like almost like end dust or something. And then then clean everything up, all the manifolds and stuff, and then change the air filters. And then, you know, they got to destroy those air filters, and they should wear gloves in case it is cyanide. So I'm just telling you straight up, nobody knows what's in these mystery tanks, okay? And we know what was in there and what it did get out. Knocked somebody out that was over 2 miles away from the place, okay? Because I think that was about a mile and a half when she got down. And then they went another half a mile away. They should have went further. They should have forgot about the shot, you know, in the video, and said, okay, we're not going to be able to video this place, you know. And they don't need to be out there reporting without full hazmat gear like they're landing on the moon or something. They need to be covered up with a helmet, SCBA breather, all that stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and play this some more.
The links at the site and the Houston ship channel remains
That is
closed.
the wall that broke.
Now nearby.
That wall that got breached or broke or whatever they want to say, let all that chemicals out down here, and then they dumped sand down here with a bulldozer is what they did to try to stop it. I don't know if they did that ahead of time, which is really odd. I think they did it afterwards, but whatever, to stop some of it from getting in there.
ISD officials there say they are replacing and checking air conditioning filters and cleaning playground equipment.
Air conditioning filters and playground equipment. Now let's just go back here, because let's keep in mind this bay is closed. What's that? Okay, so I know that we have a Coast Guard ship down here. Okay, I know that we have a few other ships out here in the bay waiting. You know, a bunch of them. They can't get in. That to me looks like an oil tanker. I think it's down there to pump that stuff into. I could be wrong, but this is all closed, right? The bay's closed, but this is a live shot and new shot or what, right? As far as I know. So it's my understanding, and I could be wrong, that does not look like a Coast Guard ship. That looks like a tanker. So are they working plan D? Like I said, since A, B, and C didn't work, maybe they need to work a plan D and get a tanker down there, hook it up to the jetty pipe, you know, in the jetty, in the slip there, and have them pump that stuff down to it and mix all that crap. It's already mixed together, and forget about it. Quit trying to save however many, just put them in the tanker and call it a day. If you want to dump money after money and put them in a centrifuge and try to separate that crap later and get your chemical back, then you can do it later. You know what I mean? But then again, if it's cyanide, what can they do? You know, that's where you're at. That's where you're at. So something hits you pretty hard and it eats holes in your lungs, I guarantee you, that other stuff. So we'll go further, but there is a ship in the bay, even though the bay is closed. That would, I would think, be an emergency kind of a vessel then at that point.
All right, thank you, Adam, very much. It's 3 minutes after 6, and right now we're going to get a live look from Washington, D.C. this morning, where President Trump says that he is totally exonerated. The Mueller report.
They should have called him exonerated. There was no collusion. And by the way, there was no collusion.
Will we actually see?
And you know, every time I watch. By the way, I want to say this: there's a Ferris Bueller's Day Off movie, and there's a thing on here. I'll put a link to it. I'll put it on here. And the guy Ben Stein, who's their teacher, is going, Bueller. Every time I hear that, I think Mueller. Like, he's probably taking a day off now, but I thought that was funny.
This morning. But first, Mola getting us up to speed this morning from Capitol Hill.
Well, all we have now is a 4-page letter from Attorney General William Barr to Congress summarizing Robert Mueller's findings. It says that while the Russians did try to influence the 2016 presidential election, the Trump campaign did not work with them, a finding that President Trump touted on Sunday.
No collusion. It was a complete and total exoneration.
I'm gonna let this play because he's
go
right.
that far, dealing with possible obstruction of justice charges.
They're trying to do whatever. We'll let this play. Let's see where it's at.
Not conclude that the president committed a crime.
Only a few more minutes left. No worries.
Does not exonerate him.
Let this play because it's going to get to the point I want to make anyways.
2 Trump appointees decided that the evidence was not sufficient. Democrats, like House Judiciary Chairman Jerry Nadler, are calling on Barr to release the full report and testify before Congress. Over the nearly 2-year-long investigation, charges were brought against 34 people, including 6 of the president's advisors on his 2016 presidential campaign. While no more charges are expected from the Mueller investigation, there are currently 2 criminal probes tied to the president. On Capitol Hill, Mola Lengi, H-Town Rush.
We're asking you this morning, should the full Mueller report be released to the public?
I know it's Mueller, but whatever. Mueller.
from both sides are arguing over what should be next to the report. Senator Elizabeth Warren saying Congress didn't ask for a summary and the American people deserve to see the full report. Senator Chuck Schumer saying the same thing. Americans want the truth. They deserve the full Mueller report.
They messed with him for 2 years. He could have got a lot more accomplished.
Most of them are
they didn't want him to get stuff accomplished. But he
got
a lot accomplished anyway.
Kevin McCarthy saying after months of manufactured
we're getting further than this. It just happens to be played. So.
However, our own
I'm going to say something too, just a real quick caveat. I make 0 apologies. This many F's are given, if you want to ask it like AOC says. But 0 apologies for supporting my president. So if you don't like that, you may not like this video. And it's your problem, not my problem. So I'm going to go further here. He's our president.
Should be released, saying this has consumed 2 years of Americans' time and we need full transparency. Meanwhile, Trump's hometown newspapers are also reacting. The New York Post front page says no collusion, no obstruction, and the Daily News calling the president Teflon Don.
That's kind of rude because there was a guy that was
and
Teflon
will
whatever.
Also air on primetime when CBS News runs an hour-long special tonight. The Mueller report, a turning point to see here on KGU at 9 p.m. Guys?
All right, Janelle, thank you very much. Your Rush Block continues with the day's other big stories, starting with a Houston police sergeant charged with murdering his wife, a school librarian in Pearland.
That's crazy.
Sergeant Ilario Hernandez was arrested in Kingsville on Saturday. Police say he shot and killed Belinda Hernandez in their Pearland home. Today, grief counselors will be on hand at Shady Crest Elementary in Pearland, where she worked. Another student who survived the Parkland school shooting has died in an apparent suicide.
Horsefly put
This comes a week after a 19-year-old survivor took her own life. Sydney Aiello's family says she struggled with survivor's guilt and was diagnosed with PTSD.
It's like one of your own. And it's just devastating. It's a tragedy.
Hear more from the survivors ahead on CBS this morning.
This is the hailstorm.
A hailstorm slams North Texas. This video from Frisco showing the ice hitting yesterday. One McKinney resident reported seeing golf ball-sized hail.
Now, is that mixed with that stuff? Who knows? But I think it's too far north of there.
Her testimony against Supreme Court nominee Clarence Thomas 30 years ago was one of the highest profile sexual harassment allegations of its time.
I'll say what you said, just a second. I'll read your comment.
And the Rockets secure their spot in the playoffs with the win over the Pelicans. Final score 113-90 in New Orleans yesterday.
I don't know.
This will be their 7th straight playoff appearance. All right, and that's your Rush Blog.
Maybe
Today's big headlines from here in Houston and around the world.
There's one other one.
Let us know what's happening in your neighborhood. You can tweet us with the hashtag HTownRush.
That's all right. So check this out. So, all right, I'm gonna read Horsefly's comment real quick too, and then I'll get a little bit further here. Yeah, Horsefly put hey, and so yeah, and I'm not even gonna touch the fly swat. You can do whatever you want, Horsefly. In Meridian, Mississippi, getting some shingles. Yeah, I'll bet. Meridian's where they're getting hit hard with some rain. I don't know if that's got any of that gas in it or not. I would think maybe that it's been pushed down the past couple of days. They said in a different video. The one lady they called Judge was saying, you know, if this smoke drops down, we'll let you know. What, you just gonna sit there till they let you know, right? So don't get me started on that. I'm just gonna say there was one other thing I was gonna show, and then I'm gonna get to it, and I'm gonna get off this thing. But you know, let's see here, history. That was the Rush block. This was the live. And so, like I was saying about the ships,
with masterfully crafted.
Hang on a second here. About the ships that are down there, that the channel is supposed to be closed, but I believe that they got a couple of ships, and I'm not going to show this close enough to get their name, and it's not even important. And I'm not going to put the link up, but I will show it. That's the helicopter. Okay, this is the video here. That's the helicopter. And that's the legs on the helicopter, right? And it shows the channel. And you'll see that there's lots of ships that are lined up because the channel's closed. But then you see, I believe it's 2 in there, and I think they even have like maybe some kind of escort. But there, and of course we got the you know, our Coast Guard down there, but not counting that one. These were, like I said, like I pointed out a minute ago, that was a tanker ship. So hopefully, one way or another, whether they pump this to somewhere else on some other complex or whatever, or whether they pump it off into that tanker, you know, that either way works. But while they're pumping this off so slow and it's still leaking benzene and it's still people getting infected and all, there's thousands at the hospital. They want to open up a school. I don't know that there's any kids to be at that school. I'd like to see just how many showed up. I'd like to see how many people said, wait a minute, I ain't doing that. And I'd like to know how many of them are actually sick and went to the doctor. They're not talking to people afterwards about what the doctors tell them, where the doctors say, hey, we really know what really affected you, and here's the real chemical or mix of these, and this is where you're going to be at. You know, this is what's going to happen to you for the rest of your life. So let's see here, if I can find the exact part of this where it shows the because this is a pretty long one, where it shows the ships. Okay, yeah. Let's see. That is definitely a tanker and a tug, as best as I can tell. Tugboat moving him around, that means he's in the channel. People don't usually ask for help. Well, it may just show it, you know, but he's got pictures, videos of it. Let me see here. Bear with me a second, people. I'll bring it to you. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. I'll have this up in just a second. Right here. Okay, yeah, and it's showing the other ones on, I believe that's outside the channel, but I could be wrong. And then I think that this one is in the channel. And he's already got a tugboat, so it seems kind of odd that he wouldn't be. And they haven't done any more, as far as I know, they haven't done any more press conferences from the city and those agencies. I'm going to look for that, and if there is one, I haven't seen it, and we'll watch it together. Because, let's see, I know I can get to this point, and I can show the ships that are, you can't tell me that that's a Singapore ship. Yeah. Okay, here's a view of them all. Okay, waiting because the channel's closed. But as best as I can tell, since the channel is still closed, as best as I can tell, and I'll put it here because you're fixing to be able to see it real good. See, this is the channel. So, as far as I can tell, that would be towards the ocean. Back here's back towards, you know, the Deer Park area, I guess. So that was a small vessel. So these are tankers. These are not, they're not any kind of military vessels. And then I saw the two that were like almost like they were broke away. Like I think these are in a holding pattern, but there's two I think that are down there. And I think that they're dumping, probably gonna fill one up with that nasty stuff, which would be great if they are. Either way, if they just get this thing done. But it's still in the air and it's still all over everything, the residue. And those people got gassed every night for like what now, 7, 8, 9, 10 days, 7, 8, 9 days, I don't know. From last Sunday, be 7, 8. Let's see. It was over the weekend. It was not Friday. It was Saturday or Sunday. Let's say it was Sunday. That's day 8 now, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. It could be more than that. I'd have to look at exactly when it was. But see, and this is another one right here. They're showing all of these from the helicopter view. So, and there's no audio, so I've got it turned down. But like I was saying, understand these are supposed to be in a holding pattern, and they have no tugboat, right? But the other one, I don't want to really skip it. I don't want to mess up and skip it, but I'd like to go ahead and show and get to it, and then show one other thing, and then I'll get off here. That's a view, you know, they're showing. You see what I'm saying? Everybody's waiting. And this is supposed to have been the newest live. That's just a lineup. He zooms in some. Somewhere in here, they show, maybe he flies away and finds it, but somewhere in here they show the other ship that's closer to the bay. 2 of them. On that other news report you saw it, so it's not gonna let me. Hold on. Here's what I'll do. I'll drop a link for the other one. And then, like I said, I mean, maybe they're working Plan D, maybe they're not. No worries. Whatever they got to do. I mean, it will be Plan D because A, B, and C didn't work. I just really like to show those 2 that were just sitting down there close to the actual channel that comes off that place. So I would think that they were down there trying to get to that jetty, which would be, like I said, I think at this point the best idea is just to get it out of here. But if they're still trying to pump it from one tank to another, I hope they don't have another flare up or anything, or any kind of problems with it. And what's the latest, El Grey? El Grey, the latest is they're not even pressing them on the mystery tanks, and they opened up schools, but their answer to that was they cleaned the playground equipment and changed the air filters and the air conditioning. I mean, you would have to have somebody come up in there and clean the vents and all that, you know, the pipe ducting and all that stuff with some kind of a chemical that cleans up. See, okay, this is the guy. Why does he get a tugboat? You see what I'm saying? This dude gets a tugboat. You know what I'm saying? You know. So, anyways, yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, I wouldn't put my kids there. I bet a lot of them didn't show up, and I bet the rest of them are sick, and there's thousands still probably going to the hospital. And then the other day they probably couldn't get help. So I think that I was saying I think they might be using the plan that I said would be a good idea, I'm sure they thought up on their own. They're smart people down there, that they should just get a tanker down there, hook up and pump it off of that. But if they're still trying to pump from one tank to another, it's dangerous, and their neighbor is now having a problem with pipes getting hot, that they're having to cool down, because inside that pipe, if those chemicals get over 97 degrees, that's their flash point, they'll explode. So they're worried about their stuff. This is a whole nother complex that if you look at this right here, they would be oriented, if this is north, south, east, west, if I'm not mistaken, it would be a complex here. I could be wrong. Could be over here, but I think it's here. The next people over have pipes that run along something and stuff that goes through them, and they're using little water hoses when these are people are using big foam. Let's see. Yeah, I wanted to see if someone was going to ask about those other tanks, but nope, shaking my head. Yeah, I wanted to see it too, and that's why I got in touch with some people and put some stuff on Twitter and that kind of stuff. But there's 2 tankers down there, and hopefully, you know, like I said, this is some stuff that they need full hazmat suits, but there's one guy running around in a van testing air and stuff, and I'm going to look at their news, and I'm going to see if they've got anything. They would be the ones to tell if there was a press release for something. And as far as I know, and this is admitting to 13 hours ago elevated levels of benzene. Give me 1 second. I want to check the videos and see if they've got anything that they have dropped. Live watch 1 hour ago. Try this. No, that's the same one. So here's what we'll do. We'll go to live, see, opens this week, walk with the, they put a bunch of junk out here, prom stuff, they put a bunch of junk out here. 11 news, let's see what this was. That was 2 hours ago. This was a live webcast. Maybe they're in there. It'd be good to see. Probably is in there. It's just now starting to load here, so that's good. they could make this simple. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Back again. Da-da-da, right? Y'all want to hear this? Do you? Somebody say yeah. Okay. Hold tight. We got a little something. There's an update. Hold on a second. I see Jimmy and Johnny and Becky and Julie. Oh look, it's the Romper Room crew. Hold tight. We're gonna see what they say. Let's check it out.
We're happy to say that we've had a very productive couple of days.
That's good.
We have several representatives from Unified Command that are going to address their specific areas.
Oh, they're going to play with the train.
Again.
Oh, wait for the train. Thank you. That's good. Because I was like, man. Vest guy. That's your favorite guy. Who is that said? That's your guy right there. You like Vest guy? For everybody that likes Vest guy? There's the
As I was saying,
translator.
we have representatives from Unified Command, and we'll start with Adam from the EPA.
I'm going to give him. Talk about it, bro.
Happy Monday. Adam Adams.
Happy Monday.
Federal On-Scene Coordinator for the EPA. Doing oversight and as part integrated with the Unified Command here on this response. There's a lot of information this morning, so I'll kind of update the status.
Rachel don't like this guy.
So the site, the tank farm, and the tanks inside.
Hold on 1 second. I'll just as a caveat, because somebody just made this comment and it is true. El Gray put that was 2 hours ago and no one asked. Yeah, we're gonna play it though, just for gig. Look, we're giving them the opportunity to not tell them everything that they know, that we don't know, that they know, that we know, that they don't know. Don't say evacuate, and for God's sakes, don't say cyanide. Anything but evacuate. And I'm not allowed to talk. Don't mention that. We're gonna censorship people. Remember, we're togetherness. We're gonna mold your brain, and everybody's good, and we're gonna keep the levels down, okay? And censorship. So these are all the symbols they use that you need to know before you watch the video. Okay, and no.
Every day, the security and stabilization of those tanks is being conducted, and it's getting better every time.
Getting better every time.
Emissions are lower.
Hold on. It was fine before. Are y'all picking up on this? Everything was fine and they detected nothing, right? Hold on a second. Translate Spanish for us. Okay, I can give you Spanish. Okay. La toro sitiamo esta basura, esta garbazo, esta mierda. Necesito te vamos. Vamos ya. Ok, rápido vamos. Y aquí está el problema. Porque los fumos está muerte. Todos está muerte. No necesito te vamos de la Deer Park. Porque Deer Park está la sitiamo de la muerte. Ok. Y no está bien de vivo. No está bien de trabajo. O no está bien de chofer un carro y una truca en la sitiamo de Deer Park porque los fumos, esta muerte está muy mojado, no está seco, está mojado, está peligro porque no chofer allá porque tú no vives no más. That's some Spanish. What I said was everything's fine and dandy, okay? Only I said it different. All right, here we go. Actually, I said everything would get you killed.
Water operations. We have oil recovery operations on the water.
So everything was fine, but now it's getting better every day.
That operation is continuing.
For the levels. The levels are going down. Down.
We're containing, on the water operations, we're containing and recovering the oil in Tucker Bayou, as well as in any other large pockets. We have it divisioned off, so we have a really good scope of work and strategy moving forward with that. Stepping out a little bit farther, in the community air monitoring, in the last 24 hours, there's been no detections or concentration.
Wait on the helicopter.
Thanks. So in the last 24 hours, there's been no air monitoring detections. Air monitoring is continuously done by a lot of resources, by EPA, by TCEQ, Harris County.
Turn the ones back on at the plant and give us those
readings. I believe
readings.
there's over 100 assets conducting that work in the field.
So you know what that means?
To have that.
That means that that company that she works for is covering all their assets. They're covering their assets.
Personnel on the ground for confirmation. We have the Taga bus that's for several hours yesterday was downwind in the community, continuously monitoring the air quality. And then we have the Aspect aircraft. The aircraft did shut down. It was probably earlier than expected yesterday due to some weather conditions, but the results have been consistent. No detections from any of those responses in any of those monitoring efforts that warranted an alert notification to the Unified Command, which gets disseminated to the local state governments.
Test all the black dust on everybody's porches, cars, and everything that they're dealing with. Test the dust.
To shelter in place or take a certain level of action.
And tell us why the kids are bleeding and dying.
Based on the operation going forward. Top priority for the EPA here as well as throughout the United States, 24 hours a day, is the protection of public health and the environment across the entire country. 24 hours a day, that's our job. And progress is moving forward. Thanks.
Now, it's not his fault that there was a leak and that people got hurt. There was supposed to be monitors on that plant. They shut off 47 or 48 monitors all at once and put hashtags across the screen as a new intel and data. So somebody actually manually punched in a bunch of hashtags and hit enter. Bet money that that computer does not do that as a default. Who would think hashtags, right? So it'd just be blank. It'd say no data or some kind of a default thing. Not hashtags. That's never written into programming. Because hashtag makes something discoverable in the internet. Only a person would do that. And it probably two people. One person do the hashtag thing, another one on three. One on the phone with the news media. Tell them there's a problem. And the city. Well, not the news media, just the city. The second person to turn off the sensors. Third person to input the data in the computer. 30 people working that day. All of them are suspect. Don't know whose job was what. So, yes, it's his job to monitor stuff all over the country. However, it's not his fault that we didn't get the data. This company, by law, was supposed to have them sensors and was never supposed to touch them. And they were supposed to have recorded that data. But I think they sensed something really bad that's worse than even what they're telling you. Worse than hexane. Hexane off the charts, but also probably something like where they got sued and had to pay $200,000 out for a leak of they actually leaked man, I can't even think of it now. You see how I'm going here, people? You know what I'm saying though. Cyanide gas. I didn't even find it on there, I just thought of it. So there you go. So I'm gonna play some more, and then this is the guy, and then Vest Guy's coming up. So for the one that likes the Vest Guy.
Coast Guard Incident Commander.
Oh, this is Coast Guard.
I am the Coast Guard Incident Commander supporting the EPA as a lead federal on-scene coordinator.
You keep them right.
But first of all, I'd like to say that the priorities remain ensuring the safety of our on-scene responders, as well as mitigating any impact to the waterway or the environment, and then reopening the
and he shouldn't have to do that shit. They should have kept it in their plan.
Houston Ship Channel and focus on that. The ship channel remains closed. However, yesterday we had a tank ship successfully transit through the impacted area, and the goal was to assess the impact to the on-scene recovery operations, as well as ensure that there's no visible oil on the hull. Both were successful. So this morning we have scheduled an additional tank ship to take an inbound transit, as well as a tank barge that will come inbound. Additionally, we'll have one tank ship and tank barge go transit outbound. They will be visually inspected, and if there is any oil visible on the hull, they will be sent to a decontamination facility that has been pre-identified. Additionally, yesterday we were able to do a partial opening of the San Jacinto River, where it comes into the Houston Ship Channel. Yesterday mornings and afternoons overflights did not find any pollutants or any oil in the water. So this morning, we've opened up the San Jacinto River to two-way tow and barge traffic. We'll continue to assess the transits this morning, and we'll decide this afternoon if we can have any additional ship transits or barge transits.
So that's what they were in there. I knew there was 2 barges in there. I got the helicopter view.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Brent.
Oh, here's your guy right here.
Command and part of the Unified Command. I'm going to give you a brief update on where we are as a Unified Command. We are still in the proactive response mode. That's a good sign. We had 3 objectives yesterday that we were focused on. The first being product removal of the tanks and the tank farm. The second objective was to remediate the ditches within the ITC property. And then the third objective was to continue remediating our waterways. I'm happy to report that my team made significant progress on all 3 objectives, and they met these objectives while having minimal impact to the community and also no injuries to our responders. So today, going forward, so let me give you a little bit more specifics on our progress.
Yeah.
We were successfully able to remove additional product from tank 80-7. So that tank is considered empty and secured at this time. We removed all of the product from tank 80-14. That tank is now considered empty and secure.
Okay.
We are actively removing.
For the people that's playing at home, listen carefully when I show you this. They're saying that the bad boy that's giving you the benzene 80-7, they said they got some more product out of it, and then he's trying to say it's empty. I don't know, but if it's empty, okay. Okay, 80-14, why won't they tell us what's in it? They emptied 80-14. Mystery tank, right? Is that the one with maybe cyanide? Are they telling us about cyanide? What are they telling us? Nothing. 80-14. So somebody has a secret decoder ring, this right here that I made, with all the actual chemicals in it, and he's not talking to us. He's talking to them. He can't be speaking to us because he never told us what was in 80-14. Are you with me, people? So he's in communique on this video with higher ups, which is fine, but I'm just letting you know what they're not telling you. Okay, we'll go a little further. So if it doesn't make sense to you, don't feel bad. Nobody knows what's in 80-14. We know its location, and it's just because I did a chart. Here we go.
Tank 80-10, and we expect to have that tank empty this afternoon.
80-10
so
was not affected.
Tank that's empty and secured.
Empty and secured.
And the next tank we're targeting is tank 80-13.
There we'll go to this one.
We have been remediating the ditches from the beginning of this incident, and we continue to remediate the ditches within our property and along Tidal Road. The ditches we've made significant progress, but it's always a focus of us to remediate the ditches. Lastly, the waterways. The Coast Guard is handling the remediation of the waterways with the support of the EPA. They're making significant progress. So the Unified Command has basically the same objectives for the next 24-hour period. Product removal of the tank farm and the tanks in the tank farm. We're going to focus on tanks finishing 80-10. We're going to move to tank 80-13. We'll continue to pump the tank farm containment area out to contain vessels. We'll continue to remediate.
Wait, to contain vessels? So are they sending it down the jetties to the ships like I said they should? I don't know. But here's what he said to you that you didn't know. He said, we're going to remove, from the tanks and this one here, but he also said from the tank farm and the tanks, which is both. This is surrounded by a wall and it's got all this nastiness all up in it. So he's pumping out the nastiness after he's done, because some of this foam needs to stay so it don't catch on fire. It creates a hood. It makes it so there's no oxygen can get to it. And then also the tanks. So this whole complex right here has got a whole bunch of nasty that you wouldn't want a part of it, because it's a mix of all these chemicals. And he's going to this one and going further, but he's not going to tell you what's in it. This is full. This is full. I hope there's no hot spots that make either one of these catch on through a pipe or a hose or a brake or a bad pump or ignition by compression or anything like that. But he just said vessels. We're going to play that again. I swear to you, he said vessels. So I'm thinking a vessel is a ship. So maybe they're taking that idea and running with it. Maybe that's the 2 ships that they put down there. Let's find out. You know, we'll replay a little bit of this. I don't care how they do it. Whatever. If they got it from me, that's great. Maybe I was helpful. If not, I'm sure they got it from somebody smart.
Basically,
somewhere.
The same objectives for the next 24-hour period. Product removal of the tank farm and the tanks in the tank farm. We're going to focus on tanks finishing 80-10. We're going to move to tank 80-13.
And he sounds wore out.
We'll continue to pump the tank farm containment area out to contain vessels.
I think he's been up 24 hours straight.
We'll continue to remediate the ditches along Tidal Road within ITC and Independence, and probably start remediating around the perimeter of the tank farm containment wall as well. And then the Coast Guard and the APA will continue focusing their efforts on remediating our waterways.
I think they gave him hell.
Once again, our goal, along with the objectives, is to do this work and accomplish these objectives without impact to the community and without injury to our first responders. And now I'm going to hand it over to Mayor Mouton for some additional comments.
So to vessels.
I'm very, very optimistic in regards to the progress that's being made. I stand here today and tell you in assurance that safety to the public is priority number one. I am happy to announce that the Deer Park School District has resumed school today, and to say anything less than I am amazed at the collaborative effort that is occurring here today, and would continue to encourage the community to keep our responders and all who are involved with this incident in your prayers, praying for this incident so we can reach a point where we can assure the public that this site has been secured and in so many words go back to a normal aspect of life. So with that said, I guess we'll open it up for questions.
Questions, yes. Questions?
Please, can you tell us, everyone that went back to, you just mentioned that the Deer Park ISD is open, but what can you tell parents about their concerns still of their children, going back to school? You can get Spanish also.
From the city of Deer Park's perspective, we're still very, very active in monitoring the situation and making sure that all of these areas are safe. We've had no readings for the last several days of any kind to enact an actionable item in regards to going back into shelter in place, which obviously there's a standard that we would all respond to. But from my perspective, I've been in communication with the school districts, and everyone is in agreement, and we feel safe at this time for that to occur.
TCQ, is there any update on the testing of the water samples from the
We have the most important thing in common that people can have.
So basically, they just told you nothing again on the levels. They said there was no readable levels or detectable or something like that or whatever, but let's see if I can get this.
Jeff Coons,
Hold on.
KUNZE with the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. I would refer you to our webpage for the ITC fire. Specifically, you can Google TCQ ITC fire or search it from the website.
Fire.
There is limited results there at this time. As soon as additional water sampling results are available and have been reviewed and validated, that's where they'll be posted.
There's an independent guy testing
continuously throughout the sampling and analysis results process.
Even though really they need to be wearing hazmat stuff, but they're testing it.
Correct, yes. Thank you.
Has ITC begun the bankruptcy process?
No.
How many claims have been filed from individuals?
I'm sorry?
How many claims have been filed from individuals claiming economic loss? Do we know?
Do you know?
I do not have that number. My efforts are focused on
Incident command.
Yeah, I don't track that number, so I couldn't report that number. My focus, as I continue to tell you, is resolving this incident.
They don't want to tell you the number.
Listen,
people, listen to what I'm saying, okay? I'm sure you probably already come to this conclusion yourself. First off, the question about, I'm choking on my Coca-Cola back here because somebody actually asked, have they already started bankruptcy proceedings? I was about to laugh like, hey, I didn't even, man, look, I realize this is live, but I'm a live person, living person too, and I get affected by hearing this stuff, man. It got me choking, and I'm not even close there. Oh my God, so check this out. So, the guy basically asked them how many people are in hospitals. Because they tried to get him, they almost got him. It was close, they almost got him. And then he says, oh, I don't track them numbers and all. I'll bet you he has a really good idea, because somebody bent his ear and said, hey, look, there's about 10,000 people sick right now. There's 2,000 or 5,000 or however many. It's in the thousands. They're not complaining that someone at this company here ran into them with their car and they have an accident with their car. They're complaining they're dying from chemicals, okay? So when the guy asked him, he says, is there any idea of numbers of how many people are affected? He almost got him. If he'd have answered that question, we'd know how many people are sick and in the hospitals and asking for help right now because their children are bleeding from their noses and lungs and dying of this chemical. So here we go. And it's not just going to go away. These people are going to have, their lives are going to be shortened by years. If who knows how long they'll be. Like I said, my friend, he had his lungs burn out. So anyways, by a different chemical, but it doesn't matter. They all work the same. We'll let him talk some more here.
Responders that are involved in their on-site.
How do I get that number?
How do I get the number?
So I was just given additional information, and there have been 1,600 claim inquiries.
Okay, whoa.
As of Friday.
Thousands, like I said, will be in the hospital. She's saying there have been 1,600 claim inquiries. There could be 8,000 or 10,000 people that don't even know, because I'm putting it out there, but I didn't know until I saw on the news thing. They could be in hospital beds right now. They got no time for no claim inquiry. Give it time, people. Tens of thousands. I'm calling it now tens of thousands. Okay? Here we go. Because it's not just that city, but here we go.
What? Sorry. Claim inquiries.
Some people are fighting for life.
Just coming in asking. Okay. Next question.
Can't breathe and stuff.
This is for the Coast Guard. What is the soonest that the shipping channel can reopen? If everything goes well.
We will continue to assess each day, but as long as there's oil in the water and cleanup operations and recovery operations are occurring, it'll be restricted, whether it be one-way traffic. So we're hopeful. I heard just before the news brief that the vessel that transited this morning had no impact to its hull. So we're looking at assessing it, like I mentioned, later this morning, and we hope to be able to start having traffic move more frequently. But it will only be daylight only until we can actually complete the recovery operations on the water.
How many ships are impacted in the channel or like in limbo, I guess?
So in a typical day, the Houston pilots will move 60 tank ships. Woo. And also freight ships, so your larger deep draft ships. And we have this area above Lynchburg, upwards of 100 towboats and barges will move each day.
And that's weekends too, people. So you know what that means? That means that for the past 3 days, how long this thing's been closed, that it's affected that much shipping traffic, right? Crazy.
I was going to say, because we talk about risk now that we're really in the cleanup process.
Can we talk about risk now?
Lower for benzene exposure from any of the chemicals that are being pumped out. I mean, are we getting to the point where the risk continues to go down day by day, hour by hour?
Every hour and every day and every minute that we're moving product from the damaged tanks into a contained tank, the risk profile changes on this tank floor. So
yeah, it can
as
go
we
up or
continue
down.
to move, the Unified Command very early in this process, when we just started discussing
they're still moving chemicals, right? Why would they put kids? I want to say it was like 4 miles away. They did a stretch line with that helicopter the other day I showed. Why would they put kids there when they know that they should just, this is, like I said, it's got me kind of off my game a bit, because I'm actually using my brain and not believing they're even doing this kind of stuff. So let me go back here because I haven't hit that button, but all right. You got to hear these reporters are giving good questions at the end right here. They're getting him pretty good.
Every hour and every day and every minute that we're moving product from the damaged tanks into a contained tank, the risk profile changes on this tank floor. So as we continue to move, the Unified Command very early in this process, when we just started discussing the product removal, we're very aligned that we would attack the benzene containing tanks first as a priority because of the potential impact to the community. So every day that we move that product, we are reducing the risk profile of this entire area.
Let me tell you what he just told me. This is what he just told me. Are you ready for this, people? You're not ready for this. Get out your secret decoder ring, the one I made for you and told you how to make. Here's the chart. Benzene. Okay? So what did he just tell you? He said they're going to focus on getting the benzene tanks clean first. What does that mean? Probably, if I'm not mistaken, okay, here's what that means. Oh, it means I need a new pen. Hold tight, but I think you already got it before I even start writing here. I think you just saw what he just told us. Mystery tank number, this one, right? Okay, so check it out. Right off the edge there. So this little Mickey Mouse mess they had here would be nothing compared to if it was bam, 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 right? And it's already taking people out and whatever it's doing to them, you know, they've fallen out. Okay, so he didn't tell you anything, did he? But he just told you that, whether he likes to or not, because he said they're focusing on getting the benzene tanks cleaned out first. What does that likely mean? Usually if you had a tank form, you want to keep chemicals together, right? So let's go ahead and extrapolate since they're telling us nothing. Can you imagine? Benzene started here, that's pi gas. That's probably pi gas, that's maybe pi gas, and then xylene. This section from here is the benzene section. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Bam. How's that? Am I right? Probably. I usually am. All right, so here's what we got. He just said he's going to empty out the tanks containing benzene first. Let's go further.
Just a little bit of sense of what we might be seeing from the air. It looks like visuals of foam flying around at the place that it's happening. Can you give us an idea of what that may be?
Yeah, so what, if it's white, it's foam. So that's the fire protected foam that we continue to lay the foam on the entire.
And the foam is bad
area.
for the environment too, but it is what it
That's
is.
for two reasons. One is for fire protection, just to prevent a fire from reoccurring, and the second is to help emission reduction.
Piggyback on his question about renewable products and everything. I know you mentioned today's tank and tomorrow's tank. If you were to include today's tank and tomorrow's tank and the remaining tanks that need to have product from your company.
So I'll go through the tanks. I'll tell you the tanks that are empty. So it's just a lot of information. So tank 80-7 is empty. Tank 80-9 is empty. Tank 80-10 is being emptied today. Tank 80-11 is full, but it's lube oil, so it's not an emission concern.
Oh, that's lube oil.
There's no emissions. Tank 80-12 is empty. Tank 80-13 is one of the tanks we're focused on tonight. Tanks 14 and tanks 15 are empty. So I guess we're around 6 to 7 tanks now getting empty and close to being secure.
So he admitted that this one's the lube oil. That's pi gas, that's the lube oil. But that's still, he didn't want to say about that one. So that one's benzene, benzene.
You know, product free.
First one's he's getting empty. And then there's that one.
They are compromised?
Tank 80-10 is somewhat compromised, but it's structurally intact. So is 80-13.
Oh, he says this one's leaking. This one's structurally intact, but it's leaking.
Does anyone need a
It's
translation in Spanish of the questions that have been asked so far? Do you want? Okay. What's your question?
The one that we just answered.
Okay.
Okay, so here's what we got, people. They're playing whack-a-mole or hide the, I don't know, the little cup game, you know what I'm saying, with all this stuff, but here's what we got so far. And that's showing all that mess. Now, why is this important? It's because of the ones that they're not telling you about what's in what, okay? So here's my question. If they wind up with this being xylene, and could this one or this one or this one be either cyanide or have cyanide in the mixture? Or is it even cyanide in these mixtures? You see what I'm saying? That's where I'm at. So there you go. And she's just giving Spanish translation for, they don't want to tell you much, you got to put it together. Kind of crazy, right? I'll start this thing up and get some air. It doesn't matter at this point. And what a week. Turned me into having to do this mess instead of turning a wrench. I'd rather be taking care of some other stuff, you know, in my little spare time that I do have. But I don't mind bringing it to you, doing this. This is important. It's more important than anything else. Maybe it'll save lives. Maybe people will listen and they'll say, hey, you know, thanks for telling me about the risk. And maybe you don't want to take that risk, you know. Just get a little bit of air going and I'll shut it off again. Then like I said, I'll drop it like that. But they're still trying to hide the other chemicals, the other tanks, and not tell what's in them. And so for them to have had a leak of cyanide before, I would think that's on that same farm. And maybe the reason they don't want to bring it up is because they figure, well, those are already mostly burnt or who knows what, but these people need to know what they were affected by. Seems to me that doctors have an inkling is why they're putting masks on the people, because at that point, what's a mask going to do? It's going to inhibit you from getting fresh air, but it's going to stop if you have cyanide in your lungs from you contaminating other people. And only certain ones had to wear the mask, and I think they know the area that was leaked out to and what direction it went versus where the other one went who was affected, because they didn't have the masks on the babies. You know what I'm saying? So, and she's just Spanishing it up right now. She's just repeating the stuff, some of the questions that they ask.
Just go over the Friday incident again, how it happened and how it was contained.
Oh, nothing happened on Friday though. Oh, he brought up the Friday thing.
What incident specifically?
The reigniting of the tanks.
The reoccurrence of the fire. The exact cause is unknown because we haven't conducted a full root cause analysis of that incident. I will tell you, at that time, there was a lot going on with the tank farm containment and the foam. So I think as the mayor and I have had multiple conversations, as you can imagine, about the entire incident. And I explained to the mayor, you know, as long as you have fuel and you have oxygen, the only component you need in the fire triangle is either a spark or a heat source. There's still a lot of heat in the tank farm, and there's potential for spark, even static electricity, to create that fire triangle. That's why the foam is so important. And that's why we continue to emphasize putting the foam on the entire area and to prevent any kind of reoccurrence potential for the fire.
How many tanks ended up reigniting?
It was tanks 80-2, 80-3, and 80-5.
One more question.
That's xylene. All right, I'm gonna set a pause right here. That was nothing that we didn't know already. That was these tanks here, which is from the bottom here, 80-2. Okay, they're calling it that gas blend, but it's xylene. 80-2, 80-3, and 80-5. They already told us what's in those. It's sad we have to follow like this. They should just.
At this time, I know that we have been mainly focused on the safety of everyone and the incident.
Wait, she's not going to answer it anyhow.
We are diligently trying to get to that stage.
Nobody could hear that question. Hold on.
In the foam on the entire area, and to prevent any kind of reoccurrance.
I think I'm going to shut this down here.
How many tanks ended up reigniting?
It was tanks 80-2, 80-3, and 80-5.
Those are the ones that caught back on fire. That would be people at home. That one, and that one. Has ITC got something about any information on potential liability? That's the question you couldn't hear asked. So we'll go here. Have a commitment.
At this time, I know that we have been mainly focused on the safety of everyone and the incident itself. We are diligently trying to get to that stage, but as of right now, I have no information I can share. Thank you. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for delivering a message to the communities. We, as Unified Command, of course, want everyone to be safe, our communities
be safe,
to be
people.
safe.
Unified,
thank you.
be safe, togetherness, feel vigilant, wear a safety vest, okay?
So we did a partial opening last night, allowed 2 vessels to transit out. So last night we did the test, we did the visual inspection of the hull after we had the overflight. So
I knew there was 2 ships in there. He let 2 ships through last night. And then they're testing the hull for any other than just oil. All right, so check this out. So, again, they told you really nothing. I'm going to see if they have any other kind of thing here. This one is, what's it called? 3 hours ago. It was showing it 2 hours ago. And yeah. So if anybody wants to make any comments, go ahead. And I don't know that there's anything else to bring to you, but I'm looking here still, simply because this is 1 hour ago, but we saw it, I guess. And then go home and go back to the videos, and then they're part there and see. School districts reopen. That was 13 hours ago. 1 week later, no end in sight. That's what they're saying, because there's still no end in sight, honestly. This was 13 hours ago.
Jets, Detroit-style pizza.
Hit the wrong button. Why did I do that? Let's see what we got here. This one. Did that work? 1 week later, no end in sight. That's what they're calling this video. There's no end in sight, is what they're saying. I mean, it's going to be a long time cleanup.
It's now been 1 whole week since the fires broke out at the ITC tank farm in the Deer Park area, and there's no end in sight for the cleanup process. Matt Doherty reports we're still trying to figure out just how much of this mess was created.
Dark clouds hovered above the tank farm for most of the day, but luckily brought only a few drops of rain. Officials say they're making progress now, maintaining a layer of foam on the chemicals still in the tanks. Anything that could disrupt those layers of foam, like a rain shower, could mean yet another fire.
The next steps today, over the next 24 hours, is to methodically go after each tank to remove all the product in the tank.
Company officials say they're vacuuming the chemicals and runoff from a nearby ditch, collecting what's spilled into Tucker's Bayou. So far, they say they've pulled more than 2,000 barrels of the chemicals and waste from the bayou alone. On Friday, part of the secondary containment wall collapsed. Chemicals and runoff from the fires managed to escape into the waterways. The Houston Ship Channel remains closed. The Coast Guard says it's looking at options for reopening portions of the channel that would not hinder the cleanup efforts.
I can't give you a timeline because, as you can imagine, the changing dynamics of the situation, the complexities, we have to be very calculated and very methodical.
I'll tell you something about this, about the whole nautical end of these things. If you do any more than a tugboat pushing that tanker, which is why I said, why do 2 of them have tugs and stuff? I knew it was something up with that they were in there. Okay, anything faster than a tug moving slow creates what's called a wake. A wake is what's behind them. They leave it in their wake, so they leave a V-shaped wave that comes out like this, and it'll push that oil and further out and make the buoy do this right here. It's a floating oil barrier, and so it'll stop it. So I'm gonna play this right quick. It'll make this thing move, and they don't want that.
A new checkpoint has been established along Independence Parkway, keeping the public and reporters further from the site than ever before. There are no more shelter-in-place advisories today, and officials sound hopeful. But when this will end is a question nobody can
He's
answer.
got his windows down and no gas mask.
Again, that was Matt Doherty reporting. There were some tense moments today when an alert went out saying another fire had ignited this morning at the ITC facility. The alert went out at 11:36 this morning from the Community Awareness Emergency Response System. This is what it looked like. Turns out it was a false alarm. Deer Park tweeted out that there was no additional fire, and we called ITC just to be sure. They agreed. No new fire today.
Well, at least there's an alarm that works. The other two didn't. Then we got this, where they send them back to school.
Some school districts say class is back in session tomorrow after the fire caused school cancellations for most of last week.
About 4 miles away. So,
Deer Park ISD, LaPorte, Channelview, Sheldon, and Galena Park. We have a full list on our website, khou.com.
Okay. So, so they sent them back to school, but they said they changed the air filters in the school. They don't understand chemicals. I mean, okay. I'd like to know what they have cyanide in. I'd like to know a lot of stuff about this. I think everybody else would like to do. And so we'll see what they put out. Look, if you want to make some comments, I'm gonna start this thing up, and then I'll play a little bit of music here, and we'll see what happens here, because I don't think anything else is going to come up. This was Watch Live 2 hours on the 2-hour thing.
Our shreds come from blocks of.
That's the wrong button. I think I've seen everything, but I'm looking at one more, and maybe I've already watched to that point. Oh, that's where the ships were in the channel. I know what it was. So they got nothing else new, and let's start this thing up and get some air going, and I'll get going. Anybody wants to say anything, go ahead. Appreciate you stopping in. I'll drop this as a video. You'll be able to share it wherever you want to put it. And it doesn't seem like they want to come clean with any other chemicals, or whether have anything worse than that. They put them together. They put the bad stuff together. So all of these being likely benzene, because that's what he wanted admit to, except for that's the lube oil one, and maybe one of them's empty. So one of the tanks on the tank farm is empty, and then so we got 3, 1, 2, and 3 bad ones here. Okay, they're all bad, but I mean mystery ones that they haven't told us what's in them. So you know, that's pie gas and pie gas together. They got another pie gas up here. They broke it up with well, this one's xylene also. I mean, it's gas blend. I guess they're not calling it pie gas anymore, even though they said from now on we're going to call it pie gas. They changed that tune, right? So maybe these two, that one might be naphtha also, because they usually keep the same chemicals together, you know, the same area. And then I mean, who knows, maybe those are some kind of a blend, and maybe this blend that they have here, maybe it even has cyanide in it. Somewhere they had a leak for cyanide. We just know what they tell us. That's all we know. And I don't think they're handing out those schematics like I drew. I don't see anything else on this. And let's see. Man, I'll do a search real quick too. This will be a long-going thing about them cleaning up all the stuff, but they mainly need to shut down that tank farm. And like that one person already asked them about bankruptcy. I think I know why. I think someone saw a legal brief that was maybe already wrote up, and they maybe knew about some lawyers that they contacted or something, that they were going ahead and starting in that direction, because they already know this is way too much money for them to pay out and still stay in business. So it's owned by a Japanese company that's been in business, I think, since 1800 and something, right? Let's see where this is at. Maybe I could find that where it talks about it. Or maybe that was something I saw on Twitter, I'll be honest with you, I don't know. Just doing a generic search real quick. Pretty brief, Boeing crash, massive chemical plant fire, that's 6 days ago, 5 days ago, blades contained, 4 days ago, carcinogen detected. This is the 1, 2, where even though they say that they've checked out levels and stuff, this is where they said carcinogen was detected here, and this is where they're saying shelter in place. Let's get this going.
Our new concerns this morning about air quality after a massive fire at a chemical plant in Texas.
4 days ago.
Shamlian is in Deer Park outside Houston, where authorities issued a shelter-in-place warning. Janet, good morning.
Good morning, and this happened just within the last couple of hours. We are 4 miles from the plant, just outside of the zone, where officials say they have determined what they are calling
they're 4 miles out.
Amount of benzene. At this
that
point,
was smart.
There is a shelter-in-place order for all of Deer Park. Authorities are saying that people should stay in their home.
I'm gonna say something too that I just picked up on this. So check this out, people. This is how I look at it. I told you that they needed to be like 4, maybe 5 miles away, right? They're smart enough to know that too. And this says Deer Park City Hall, and if you look at the glass here, and if you look at the stucco on the building, that looks very familiar. Maybe that's where they're giving the press conference. Maybe all those people in the vests and stuff, right, are going here. They're parking in front of this place. They're chilling and talking to the news media at City Hall. And then that way they won't be coughing and choking and showing just how bad this stuff is, that even being around it, even the residue and everything else they even have in the plant at regular levels, safe levels, right? Because they don't want to scare you for your kids going to school, right? So I'm picking up on this. Who else is with me on this, that picks up on this? That they went 4 miles away, if this is the building that they were at, the same one she's at, and she's smart enough to be there. Those local places trying to get a closer shot, that's not so smart. She's 4 miles away. So here we go.
At this time, they say the residential areas are not currently impacted, but the smell may be noticeable.
Then why is a national news?
Where we are here.
Okay. Why is a national news place going 4 miles away when they could get a better shot at a place that's relevant instead of being in front of City Hall to do the reporting 4 miles away? They know. You don't want to be nowhere near there.
School is just a couple of miles from that plant. Again, Deer Park schools have shut down, as well as 5 other school districts. Yesterday, there was a brief flare-up at the plant.
She says a couple miles away.
That was quickly put out within about an hour.
She's 4 miles
again,
away.
Those big black flames could be seen all the way from downtown Houston. Benzene is a known carcinogen, according to the CDC. People who breathe in high levels of it may experience drowsiness, headaches, and dizziness. It is likely at this hour, David, a lot of people have not heard of this. Very early here, people are being asked to shelter in place.
We can hear the sirens behind you, Janet. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Okay, so they're smart enough to be 4 miles away. They just said the school was a couple miles away. I thought it was like 4 miles, but maybe that guy with the measuring thing was a little off. So if it's 2 miles away, that's way within too close to being with that count. They should not have opened the school back up, and it's probably got that stuff all in it. I'm just being honest. Yeah, so that's what I got, and I'm gonna turn on some music and about to get going. Anybody wants to say anything, go ahead, and then I'll get off this thing. Looks like we'll be in for a long haul on this, and they're not wanting to admit what's in the other 3 mystery tanks, maybe 4. 1 was empty, so I'd say 3, you know, or where the cyanide, if it's in other tanks, or where it's at on their farm. I think that's all they have is that little spot, because it says their neighbors are right next to them. So I think that's all they have. So one of them tanks has got something bad in it, you know. Yeah, I'm just going to have to start this back up. It's getting to be warm. So the nights will be worse whenever it comes back down too. And there's no telling. They won't tell how many people are affected, how many people are still going to the hospital. They just want to talk about a few claims they've got. Most people don't know about that website. Most people are not even going to file a claim with them. Or at least not a settlement, you know. So they figure they got medical records and they can show it for that day, and they got proof of it already. I think they pretty well got themselves covered. Anybody around there has got a legal right to sue them. I can't believe they let them back in there. I would not have let those kids back in there. And they're doing the reports 4 miles away so they can breathe. Everybody, can you breathe? I hope you're in a good place. I hope everybody's doing good. I hope you can breathe. And we'll see if they ever tell us what's in those other mystery tanks. Like I said, they don't want to admit, and they don't want to admit the extra chemicals. Here's what it is. They're considering it to be proprietary knowledge, or what you would say a patent kind of a situation, or a trademark chemical. So they were saying that they were going to call, they were saying from now on we're going to refer to this stuff right here, okay, or this, either way, we're going to call it pie gas. From now on, we're just going to say pie gas. Then they backed off from that and stopped saying that. Now they're saying it's gas blend stock with xylene in it. Because when they get sued and they have to give the chemical composition, they don't want people to take their trademark pie gas and make it. Because then all of a sudden they've given away their patent stuff, right? Or it'll be outlawed. So they don't want to give away pie gas, they just want to give away, they're going, which is good, they're giving this exact chemical in it, but they're going to have to give all this stuff later in court. So at that point, or they'll just have to settle. So at that point, I think they don't want to give away their secret recipe. There's 7 herbs and spices that makes their, you know, Kentucky Fried Deadly Gas. So, yep. I'm about to get going. Anybody wants to make a comment, I'll check the comments that was already made here too, and I'm gonna read some of them. And then let's see. No, not vest guy again. Well, yeah, that was earlier. And then let's see. And that, oh yeah, that was 2 hours ago and no one asked. And then LOL no, when the reporter gets up there, I was curious what that guy was asking her, but yeah, thanks. And then let's see. There's a report you might find interesting in AP, which is the Associated Press, dated March 23rd, 2018, 1 year ago, on all the chemicals leaked during Hurricane Harvey that was missed by many because of their own personal impact. Okay? And then it was a TCEQ monitor I was talking about the other day when you asked what monitor I was referring to. Okay. TCEQ. I'll write that down and then I'm gonna get going. Let's see what we got here. If this pen will work. I keep getting the wrong pen. So, TCEQ monitor. And AP March 23rd, 2018. Harvey. Chemicals. They probably have it out on video too. It's AP wire. AP is the Associated Press, people. It's where press people that, believe it or not, before they even get permission, they put it up on the AP. If their country has a problem with it or it's not with their propaganda at the time, they'll take it down. If it gets through, it'll get through. So you can find stuff on the AP that you're like, huh, really? And then they might take it down or it might get through, but regular news won't pick it up as a story if they don't want to and they have a choice. So Associated Press is good. BBC is pretty good because they have their own propaganda, but it's not exactly ours. So if it's something that, you know, you normally wouldn't see on our lamestream fake news media, you know. So I mean, they can't even hide the girl that's passed out or just throwing up and everything from being gassed. This is like if you were in a war zone and you were gassed. That's the same effects. It's gas. It's a neuroagent, neurotoxin. It messed her up real bad. And then, she's going to stand up and be back on camera because she has to make her money for that day. And they probably told her this, as much, knowing nobody else would go down there if she left. And so, basically, they used her just for a story, for a good shot. And then at the end of it all, another one got hit too with it. But basically, they got that up there. But they couldn't even, by going to all these other different videos in the meantime, hide the fact that that girl got gassed and that it's not safe. And they didn't really want to let it out. They just asked, "Oh, are you okay?" "Oh, I'm asthmatic." "Why are you wearing a dust mask then?" So like I said, it was, she didn't have it around her neck before, but after she got affected, all of a sudden it's around her neck, right? No. So this is not just pollution or smog. This is a chemical that a paper filter won't even get. Will go right through like a breeze because it's a micron level. You're more likely to get that chemical than you are oxygen even. A wet towel around your head may help some, very, very limited. Like I said, it's bad. Do what you want to do, you know. I wouldn't live there. They should have evacuated for at least 2 weeks. And that's all I got for you. Any other comments, go ahead, and I'm gonna get out of here. So, I think I covered everything on these comments too. Horsefly, you take it easy. All y'all people, take it easy. Stay safe. A safety vest is not going to do it, people. Contrary to what they want to show you on the, television and that kind of stuff. And they weren't handing out gas masks. I think that school, see, you can't fit a little head too with a gas mask that well. They need some baby gas masks, evidently, right? And those guys need to shave. If they're anywhere around a chemical plant, they're not supposed to be. They're supposed to be clean shaven and supposed to be wear a gas mask. So the mayor guy, much as he hates it, if he's going to be anywhere around and whatever, even 5 miles from that place, he should be shaved and have a gas mask and have it already fitted to him, and they should be walking around with it around their neck, so at any second they could grab it. That's how you do it. If you're offloading and you're there, it's on your face. And evidently they need some full hazmat suits. That's all I got for you people. I'm gonna get off this thing. Have a good day, if you can. I'm out.